Today we are going to discuss the last few things which are remaining of differential calculus. In first one is derivative rate measure. In fact, we have solved a couple of problems in application of derivatives using this, but under this heading we have not discussed anything, so let us discuss that. We know quantity varies with respect to x and differential in quantity y per unit differential in quantity x. That is what we represent this as a differential coefficient, and we know the meaning of this as limit delta x change in x tending to 0. What is change in y? Per unit change in x. That is the meaning. So in our physical life or in physics, you might require to use it for change in pressure, with respect to height or rate of change of pressure. Maybe you can call it as rate of change of pressure with respect to rate of change height. Maybe rate of change of displacement with respect to time. ds by we call this as velocity. Rate of change of velocity with respect to time, we call it as d2s by dt square, second derivative of velocity with respect to time, we call it as acceleration. Okay, so maybe there could be some quantity whose rate of change we are interested in finding out per change in some other quantity. In case if it is time, it is dt, height h, x, that comes in the denominator. We have discussed this earlier. Now convention in maybe in case of say this ds by dt, convention is if the change, if x increases, y also increases, then we are supposed to consider dy by dx greater than 0. If x increases, y decreases, then we should assign sine to dy by dx as less than. So these are some conventions that we need to follow, and then we will get our things right. Okay, so we will understand this by solving couple of problems. First problem, sand is pouring from a pipe at the rate 12 centimeter cube per second. The falling sand forms a cone such that height is 1/6 of the radius. I will explain what that is. How fast does the height of the sand cone increases when the height is at when h is equal to 4 centimeters. Now this is what is the this is r radius of this base radius, and this is h. So I think it is very easy problem. I should give you some time to get me the answer. The only thing that you require to know to solve this problem is V is equal to 1/3 pi r square h. Now you should express either r in terms of h or h in terms of r, differentiate it with respect to the unknown that you keep, and everything is available. Differentiate with respect to t because the rate is in terms of t or second, and then put those values. You should get answer 1/48 pi centimeters per second. Okay, one more simple problem and we are done with this. Second problem, problem 2. X and y are sides of two squares. Such that y is equal to x minus x square. Find the rate of change of area of second square with respect to first. Do it, simple. Okay, so you find out what is area of second square, you find out what is area of first square, and use some parameter, do parametric differentiation and find out dA second upon dA first. Answer 2x square minus 3x plus 1, which is dA second square upon dA first. Okay, that is all about the derivative as rate measure. There could be many problems. However, the difficulty of the problem is to convert the information given in word format into mathematical format. Like in this case, you need to know this, then only you can solve this problem. So there will be some additional mathematical information which you need to use in solving these kind of problems. Else, this is very simple. Okay, you can solve few problems. There are same gauge, in same gauge there are problems, in some other sources you will have these problems, you should solve. Okay, second thing which is remaining is approximation. This is very important and it is used practically in day-to-day life. The application of differential calculus in approximation is very, very important, because few things which we cannot solve, we can approximate using differential calculus and really get almost accurate values, right? So if I want to approximate, suppose I have a curve. How should I take it? I should take it like this. And I have a point here. Okay, let us call this point as C. Then this value will be f of C. This is y is equal to f of x. And as I said, if you are going in the neighborhood of C, delta neighborhood of C, it is difficult to deal with this function because it is very, very complicated, and therefore we are interested in approximating this function. We are interested in considering this function locally as a straight line, because straight line is y is equal to mx plus c, and it's a linear equation which is very easy to deal with. Power of x is 1, constant. Okay, and therefore the question is, which straight line should I use which can approximate this curve locally in the delta neighborhood of C? If you are in the vicinity of C, which straight line we should consider as a best approximation? Now, as we know, of course, that straight line need to pass through C, and there are infinitely many straight lines which can be drawn passing through C. Okay, I have drawn few. So first of all, we'll have to decide what we mean by approximation. By approximation, we should mean as we go near C, or as our x values go near C, our y values should go near f of C. That could be the first definition of our approximation. That is what we expect. So maybe define approximation. First attempt of our definition of approximation could be limit as x tends to C, y of x or f of y minus f of C should tend to 0. This could be our first definition, but you will agree that this is very bad, because all the lines that I have drawn right now passing through C, f of C will satisfy this. As you go near C, point on the curve and point on the line will be coincident, almost there will be hardly any gap, and therefore limit as x tends to C f of y, f of x minus f of C will always be 0. So maybe this is bad definition, bad. Then we should make another attempt of defining what do we mean by approximation, and therefore what we can think of is, suppose we are near to C and we are here. Let us say this is our x. Okay, so f of x is this. And at the same x, if I select say line number 1, I will get value of the function this. Let me call this as y1. If I am selecting this line L2, I don't know whether it is too small for you. Let me make it little big. Okay. If I select some other line as my approximation, then at x, if I evaluate, if this line is approximating this curve, I will get this value of y. If I use this line L3, I will get y, this is y2, this is y3. Maybe if I extend this line, I will get y4. Those are sufficient. This is y4. Okay. So your actual value of the function is f of x, which is y. And if you are approximating it with some straight line passing through c comma f of c, then you will get these different values. Okay, up to this point, is it correct? Suppose okay, so the second definition that you can have as far as best approximation is concerned, that we would now, this difference would always be 10 to 0 as x tends to c, and that does not make any sense. Therefore, second attempt, maybe we can write limit as x tends near c, x tends to c. We do this. What do we do? F of x minus f of c. नहीं, एक मिनट ना, मैं जरा परत एकदा करेक्ट करतो. Now when I am saying f of x here, what I mean is, if I put y, that is point on the curve, and if I put any other value than y, which is either y1, y2, y3, y4, any point on the straight line, and then if I check the difference, it should be 0. That is what I mean by this definition, and you will accept that this is going to be always 0. Correct? This is going to be always 0. Now, second thing that I can visualize is, again, same f of x minus f of c, where f of x I am visualizing in two different ways. Either f of x is y, or f of x is y1, y2, y3, y4, and then I make it x minus c. So additional, this denominator will help me in avoiding this situation for every straight line, and therefore I could define my approximation like this. Okay, and obviously, because I am eventually show that the tangent is the best approximation, I am moving towards tangent, but let me check now whether I am getting it or not. Now, if my point on the line, suppose the line has got slope m, line has slope m, then what is the equation of the, I mean, I have drawn 4 lines here to represent, but any general line will look like y minus f of c, y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus c, right? So corresponding point on the line, when x is equal to x, it will be f of x minus f of c, which is equal to m into x minus c. Understand this. So f of x, point value of the function. maybe what we can write here is f of xl. Point is on the line, or f line of x, f line of x is equal to f of c plus m into x minus c. If you find out the value of the point on the line, then it is this. So fl of x I refer to as y1, y2, y3, y4. Okay, and f of x is our y. So let us see if we do it correctly now and we get the desired result or not. So that is our y. Okay, now let me think what. Okay, so maybe what I would like to say here is this second definition that we have done, f of x minus f of c upon x minus c. This would also, for best approximation, maybe this will not give us the correct idea. What we need to define maybe is third definition, third trial, that limit as x tends to c. What we need to define is the value of the function at x minus the value of the function on the line. We want to minimize this difference. Presently in this diagram, there is a finite difference between all these values depending upon which particular straight line we choose. So f of x minus f of, I mean, point on the line, fl of x, point on the line, this difference should be minimum per unit difference you go along x-axis. Maybe this is the third trial of my definition, which I would like to check. When will this difference be tending to minimum? Presently, maybe this, I have drawn line 3 as a tangent, so y3 seems to be the minimum, and y3 is intersecting this particular curve also at only one point. So suppose I take this as a definition, then what do I get? Then I get limit x tends to c f of x minus inside bracket f of c plus m into x minus c. And we are trying to find out what should this value of m be if this is my definition of approximation. Then I realize that limit x tends to c f of x minus f of c upon x minus c minus limit x tends to c m times x minus c upon x minus c. Okay, so we get this, and this is what is our, if this is our f dash at c minus m, and we want this limit to tend to 0, and therefore if this becomes 0, that could be our best approximation. And therefore if f dash of c is equal to m, that is the nearest linear approximation of the curve. So if you have a curve and if you want to study the properties of this curve at this point, you can study the properties of straight line in the delta neighborhood of x, and you should be happy about it. Of course, there will be some error if you are not at C, but if you are near C, then there will be very little error. Now, okay, so this is as far as fabricating the proof why tangent is the best approximation. We can do this by some other method because we have the Taylor series expansion, etc. But this is purely algebraic. The difference between the point on the curve and point on the straight line should be minimum per unit distance you travel along x-axis. This could be the definition of approximation, and if we accept this definition for approximation, the difference between the two y values, one on the curve and one on the straight line, should be minimum. So this should tend to 0. If we assume that, then we get the best approximation as tangent. To support this argument, we can use actually the Taylor's expansion and physically check whether it is working or not, and we will observe that it works. Okay, I think I have explained it correctly. You may note it down. Till then I will check what needs to be done later. Okay, why did we scrap second definition? Second definition is scrapped because if you follow f of x on the curve, as you go near x, the numerator is also going to become 0 and denominator also going to become 0. So it is going to be indeterminate type of situation where we will not be able to really find out. Instead of f of x, if we follow the straight line, again it will be 0 upon 0, and we will not be able to find out what exactly should be the slope of the line that we should choose, because as the line is passing through c comma f of c, what is the only unknown is slope of the line, and therefore we should find out which line is the best approximation. That means line with what slope is the best approximation, and therefore this definition also fails because it will not give you anything. The way this definition fails, it will give you 0 in every case. This definition will not give us anything. Therefore we said, okay, let us make difference between the y values on the curve and on the line be 0 as you go near C. This is the third iteration of definition, and if you accept this, as you go near C, the difference between them should become 0. Then it gives us the tangent which will give us the best approximation, and therefore we accept that. I mean, this is not done first and derived the differential calculus. It is not like that. It is the last thing that we are doing, and we are just trying to give algebraic explanation why tangent is the best approximation of the curve locally at that point. And then if we are ready to accept this as a definition, then we everything falls in place, and we get slope of tangent is the derivative, value of derivative at C, which is, again we say that it is slope of tangent. Okay. Okay, so using this, okay, so now let us look at it using our Taylor series. Taylor series says f of x is equal to f of a, any base point a, plus f dash evaluated at a upon 1 factorial into x minus a, plus f second derivative evaluated at a upon 2 factorial into x minus a bracket square, and so on. This is what is our standard Taylor's expansion. Now, let us first solve few problems on approximate values. Find approximate value of this, find approximate value of that. In that case, how are we supposed to work? Let me draw picture once again. This is your base point. This is your tangent. X. This is x plus delta x, right? And this is f of x. This is your f of x plus delta x, and y, this is delta. This is delta y. So f of x plus delta x minus f of x, which is delta y upon delta x, limit as delta x tends to 0. What is this? This is limit delta x tends to 0, delta y upon delta x, which we called dy by dx. Do you understand this in this diagram now? It is very simple. F of x plus delta x, that is value of the function at x plus delta x. F of x, value of the function at x, divided by x plus delta x minus x, that is delta x. That is what is our definition of, this is our definition of differential coefficient. Delta y upon delta x as delta x tends to 0, which is this in this case. So now if we cross multiply, what do we get? F of x plus delta x is equal to f of x plus dy by dx into delta x, which we can write as f of x plus delta x is equal to f of x plus dy by dx into dy by dx into, again I'm not doing anything new, so okay. So this is the first formula, and this is similar to this. That is what I wanted to bring it to your notice. This is similar to this. That is what we are calling as linear approximation. Linear means power of x is 1 here. All other things in RHS are constant, and therefore if I want to solve, find approximate value of 101. Suppose I want to solve first problem as 1, find approximate value of root 101. Then I will go as follows. I want to use this formula. So x plus delta x is 101 for me. So x is equal to 100. I will assume my function y is equal to f of x is equal to root x. I will assume this as my function looking at this problem, and I will consider x as 100. Okay, and delta x is equal to 1. So I need f of x, I need a delta x, and I need dy by dx at x is equal to 100. Hello, बोला. तुम्ही मला संध्याकाळी फोन करा 5 वाजता. आता माझं लेक्चर चालू आहे. So dy by dx evaluated at x is equal to 100. That is what we want to figure out. Because this dy by dx I have written here. If you observe here, it is evaluated at a. Okay, it is evaluated at a. So what is dy by dx of root x? So it is minus 1/2 x raised to minus half. This is y dash of x at x is equal to 100. So root 101 is equal to root 100 plus 1 upon 2 root 100 times 1, which is equal to 10 plus 1 upon 20, this is 0.05. So the approximate value of root 101 will be 10.05. Now, don't calculate approximate value of 101 using your calculator, because calculator will do it exactly this way only. Calculator does not know any other method of finding out square root of 101. Of course, it will give you more decimals because it is not using linear approximation. It will use approximation of 10 degree so that it is practically accurate. Right? So what you can do is to cross check whether your square root of 101 is 0.05 is or not, or near to that or not. You can multiply 0.05 by 0.05 and check whether you are very close to 101 or not. By squaring this, you can cross check, and I think we should be able to easily, because unit place is 5. So 25, 100 into 101, 100 into 101 is 101,000, and I have, this is the square, therefore 4 decimals. Do you realize this is the square of 10.05, which is almost equal to 101. Are you understanding the procedure of approximating? Yes or no? Yes. So first, the most important thing in this is to decide the function and fix these values x, delta x, and do some calculation and get the approximate value. I will give you another problem to do. Let me check whether you can find out approximate value. Find approximate value of log x at x is equal to 1. approximate value of log x at x is equal to 1. So in this formula, we will find out. So this is f of x plus delta x, or we can use the upper one, this one, f of x. We will use this, f of x is equal to f of a plus f dash of a evaluated at x minus a. So here f of x is f of x because it is given log x. A is equal to 1, right? So if a is equal to 1, then what is f of a? F of a is equal to f of 1 is equal to 0. Then what is derivative? F dash of x is equal to 1 upon x. So f dash of a is equal to 1 upon 1. Okay, so simple. So f of x is equal to f of a is 0 plus f dash of x is 1 into x minus 1. Log x is approximate to x minus 1 near at x is equal to 1. So I would give you what does it mean. Log x, our log x will go like this, correct? And if you draw x is equal to 1, if you draw this straight line linear, so this is 1 and it will pass through minus 1, slope is 1, so the line is going to be tangent at this point. So locally, which I will demonstrate you with some other problems using GeoGebra, locally log x can be approximated by x minus 1. Locally means in the neighborhood of x is equal to. Meaning of approximation. Let me give you a third problem, which is numerical. Approximate value of, find approximate value of 26 raised to 1 by 3. Cube root of 26 approximately equal to how much? Okay, now you should be able to do this. Get me the numerical value in terms of how you should give it to me. P by Q, rational number, you give it to me in rational form. Obvious, f of x is equal to cube root of x. F dash of x is equal to 1/3 x raised to minus 1/3 minus 1, so minus 2 by 3. Okay, so f of 20 x is equal to 27 and delta x actually equal to minus 1. So f of 27 is equal to 3. F dash of 27 is equal to 1 upon 3 into 9, 1 upon 27. Okay, everything is available now. Therefore, the answer is f of a, that is 3 minus 1 upon 27 into minus 1, that is why this minus, which is equal to 80 upon 27. Good. First problem. Find the approximate volume of metal in a hollow spherical shell whose internal and external radii are 3 centimeter and 3.0005 centimeter. Okay. So what is the approximate difference in the volume? I mean, that means what is the approximate volume of the hollow spherical shell? What you are required to do is find out the volume of the sphere whose radius is 0.0005. So you will define the function as y cube, y is equal to x cube. You need a cube of this, na? So y is equal to x cube. So y dash is equal to 3x square. Okay, your a is equal to x is equal to 3. So then matrix 27. So 3.0005 cube is approximately equal to 27 plus 3 into 3 square times 0.0005. बराबर चल रहे, which is equal to 27.0135, and therefore the difference in volume is equal to 4 by 3 pi into 0.0135, which is equal to 0.018 pi centimeter cube. You can say delta V. Okay. Quick, few more 5 because they are important. Approximate sin x at x is equal to 0. Okay, cos x sin x approximated as x. Cos x, when we put x is equal to 0, we get this. And how is approximation of e raised to x at x is equal to 0? E raised to x is approximately equal to e raised to 0, that is 1, plus derivative of e raised to x evaluated at 0, which is e raised to 0 is 1 into x minus 0. So e raised to x can be approximated like 1 plus x. Okay, so it is like this. E raised to x is like this, and at 0 it is 1 plus x. So y-axis intercept is 1 and slope of tangent is 45 degree. So this is as far as linear approximation is concerned. Linear because in every approximation that you have done, your power of x is 1. In all earlier problems also, power of x is 1 here, log x. Okay. So what will be the quadratic approximation? Let us look at degree 2 approximation. This This is okay locally, but if you go little away from the base point, you will not get correct answer. The error will be more, and hence we understand what is quadratic approximation. Okay, so for quadratic approximation, what we will say is f of x is approximately equal to f of a plus f dash at a into x minus a, and we will not stop after this. We will have one more term, second derivative evaluated at a upon 2 factorial, that is 2 into x minus a raised to 2. Maybe that is how we will do the quadratic approximation. So let us do it for the basic functions first. And then we have some advanced functions also. Oh, so basic function first, quadratic approximation. Let us do it of log 1 plus x. What is quadratic approximation of log 1 plus x? Tell me. Okay, using GeoGebra now, we are sketching log 1 plus x and x minus x square, and you will find near x is equal to 0. Both these graphs are almost coincident for a while. I mean, it is not only at x is equal to 0, in the vicinity of x is equal to 0, they are coincident. And zoom out, Pranav, please zoom out. It's a parabola opening down. We know x minus x square by 2 is a parabola opening down, so it will take its shape. But log 1 plus x and x minus x square by 2 are approximately equal near 0. Okay. Now let us solve a couple of more problems, and every time we sketch a graph and check what happens. So stop share, Pranav. Okay. Then share screen. My share screen. Okay. Now you should, okay, as far as log 1 plus x is concerned, you should follow this f of 1, f of 0, which is log 1 plus 0, that is log 1, which is 0, plus 1 times x minus half times x square, which will give you x minus x square by 2 as an answer. Okay. Now let us solve second problem. Second, basic functions, sin x near x is equal to 0. Sin x is approximately equal to, let us do all three algebraically first and then go to the sketching mode and see what are the sketches. So log sin 0 is 0 plus cos 0 is 1 into x minus 0 plus third term sin f second derivative of x, which is cos x, and sin x with minus sign, so minus cos 0, that is the second derivative, divided by 2 into x square. Okay, so cos 0 is 1, therefore नाही काय चाललंय, sorry, minus sin 0 it will be here. Okay, therefore this term is 0. So quadratic approximation of sin x happens to be still x. Let us see quadratic approximation of cos x. cos x is equal to 0, 1, minus sin x, 0. So cos x, derivative minus sin x, minus cos x. So minus 1 into upon 2 x square, x minus 0 bracket square. So it is approximately equal to 1 minus x square by 2. And 4 e raised to x approximately equal to x is equal to 0, 1 plus derivative 1 into x minus 0 plus derivative, second derivative 1 into x square, x minus 0 bracket square. So approximately e raised to x is 1 plus x square by 2. Okay, so these are our functions, approximate values of the functions in terms of x near 0. So I stop share. You can start share now. Okay, so this is what you have put. First function as cos x and 1 minus x square is its approximation. We know 1 minus x square is a parabola opening down, and you can see even if you do quadratic approximation, you are very near to the point and matching these two curves. Okay, now you can change cos to sine. Second function you can take. Okay. Oh, yeah. There is no much change as far as sine, quadratic approximation and linear, because second term becomes 0. So, but still near 0, it is almost coincident. That is why we were insisting that you should draw graphs of these trigonometric functions to scale. Then only this will happen, otherwise it will not. Good. Change original function e raised to x, and yes, 1 plus x square looks like this. Near 0, you can observe that near 0, this quadratic equation and the e raised to x almost coincide. Okay, now let us do it, because we have been doing it near 0. So let us do it. Okay, stop share, screen share. First do algebra and then we go there. Two more examples. Problem number 5. Find quadratic approximation of f of x is equal to 6 for x is equal to 0. Then sixth problem. Now let us see f of x is equal to sin x for x is equal to pi by 6. Now you have to do good algebra here. 7. First show me the answer, then we go there. Okay. Quadratic approximation of f of x is equal to 1 upon 1 plus x square. 1 upon 1 plus x bracket square for x is equal to 1. Okay. First do all these three, show me the answers, and then we go and sketch. Answer for fifth problem is 1 plus x square by 2. Sec x can be quadratically approximated. Sin x near pi by 6 can be quadratically approximated as 1/2 plus root 3 by 2 into x minus pi by 6 minus 1/4 into x minus pi by 6 raised to 2, and 1 upon 1 plus x bracket square can be approximated near 1 as 1/4 minus 1/4 into x minus 1 plus 3 upon 16 x minus 1 bracket square. Okay, now stop share. Can you finish writing this? प्रणव, वो जो सेकंड फंक्शन जो है वो you type it in so that it will get build the graph. You don't keep them readily typed. Okay, so after you keep adding one particular term, how the graph changes and it tries to align with the original graph is important to see. Okay, so stop share. करो share. Okay, let us do sec x is a blue graph and we are doing it near 0. So we are interested in particular point and it is approximated by 1 plus x square by 2. Pranav, now just remove that 2 from the denominator. Remove. Okay. Now you observe that so after removing the 2 from the denominator, the orange graph is still a parabola, standard parabola opening up. But then you will observe near 0, they don't go hand in hand for a long time. And now you put that denominator 2 there. Can you see the difference? This is what it is. Can you see the difference? Okay. Now sin x, we have done it for 0. Now you do sin x for pi by 6. Okay. And the second function you have to type half plus root 3 by 2. एक मिनट, जरा स्क्रीन ऊपर करो, ग्राफ ऊपर करो, टेक द ग्राफ अप और थोड़ा ऊपर, because you are correct. Okay, so root 3 by 2 times x minus pi by 6. Okay, so can you see that blue line is trying to come near and near and near, and then we will have to, okay, that is pi by 6, value of pi by 6 he has put vertical line. Okay, and it is just now only linear. Now if you add one more term, that is minus 1 by 4. Now keep observing the blue straight line. 1 minus pi by 6 bracket square. Then it becomes a parabola and you get further alignment. So that is what is very interesting. And it is near now. Earlier we did approximation near 0. But now if you see 0, there is a gap between the violet and the blue at 0. But there is absolutely no gap near pi by 6. There is no gap near pi by 6. So your base point A is important. Okay, this is as far as sin is concerned. Now next is 1 upon 1 plus x bracket square, and it is near 1. Okay, so now the graph is at correct position. Okay, now new function that is 1/4 minus 1/4 times x minus 1. Okay. Now this is happening near 1. So it has already, when it is linear, near 1 it is coincident or a tangent. Now, and then we add the third term, 3 by 16, and we make it parabola. And that is what it is. Okay, so this is quadratic approximation, and you can very well trust on these values. I mean, quadratic equation that you have, and you can directly replace that quadratic equation instead of a complicated function. Now, okay, now Pranav, what you do now is, let us take simple function. Sin x already there, h of x, karo. Sin x, h of x वाला जो है, नहीं, already h of x था, ठीक है, चलो, no problem. Okay, and now let us put the base point 0 only, and therefore base point 0 करो.
So should I keep the x minus pi by 6 terms?
नहीं, वो भी 0 हो जाएगा ना, x हो जाएगा. नहीं, अभी earlier problem only. You delete this and write down approximation for sin x. Sin x was x, and then quadratic also remains x. Okay. Now suppose if you want third term, what will be the cubic approximation of sin x? Then can somebody do and tell what should be the next term? If I want to include cubic term, which is third derivative of sin x evaluated at 0, it will be 0. Yes or no? नहीं, third derivative check करो. What is the third derivative? So the moment you have cubic approximation, this, no, you put okay, sin and x 1 by 6 x cube. Okay. Now can we add x raised to 5th wala term? I think it will be plus. This is 3 factorial in the denominator. Hmm. 3 factorial in the denominator, it will be 5 factorial, maybe factorial in the denominator, plus 1 upon 5 factorial x raised to 5. Now, do you see that they start aligning with each other for a long time and almost near 0, practically up to now -1, 1.5, almost up to plus minus 2, it is matching. Okay, minus, one more term, minus 1 upon 7 factorial x raised to 7. Now, there is one flaw here. The flaw is the basic sine curve, blue curve, which is drawn there in GeoGebra, is also being drawn using this technique. Therefore, it will keep on matching, and they must have, they must have programmed it in such a way that they have taken some 100 terms in the approximation, and therefore we can see the sine graph the way we want to see, and we call it as sine, but it is actually the Taylor's expansion only. Chalo, one more karo, and then maybe e raised to x, let us see e raised to x, because that is also easy to draw. E raised to x draw karo, और उसका First approximation, second approximation, x square by 2 plus x cube by 6 plus x raised to 4 by 4 factorial plus x raised to 5 by nine. हो रहा है मैच. Now you see to the right, almost that blue line is not visible. They are coinciding each other so well. थोड़ा zoom in और blue line कहाँ गया? Right side का.
Both of them are on top of each other, so the colors are mixed.
No, you zoom out, zoom in. इतना मैच हो रहा है. हाँ, because it is what for 5th degree ना, तो वो उधर infinity के पास जा रहा है, and so there में almost right hand side is completely matching. Left hand side will not match that easily because when we are writing it as a polynomial, it is wavy curve, and e raised to x is not wavy curve. So I mean, if it is odd power, it will go to minus infinity. If it is even power, then it will go to plus infinity, and slowly that left hand side will be built. So it is quite evident that more number of terms you take, it will be better to approximate that function, and GeoGebra has helped us to visualize that also. And therefore we can always solve problems, limit problems where you are stuck. You can put the complicated function by approximate polynomial and solve that problem. Your answer will be correct. चलो बाहर निकलो प्रणव. गुड, थैंक यू वेरी मच, बहुत अच्छा. ओके, very good. So we have done up to quadratic as far as numerical calculations are concerned, but using GeoGebra we have seen that if we go up to 6th or 7th, and this base point you can always change. Why we are not changing base point is because our calculations or finding the derivative at the new base point is little difficult, but if you can program that, I mean, you get the functions very quickly at different base points. So you decide at what point you want your approximation to be done, and you will have a polynomial approximating that. That is the major advantage. Now, the last thing which is remaining is, let us give some respect to Newton, who has done this. So last article is for him. Observe this now. 56% black. We have already written this. Y is equal to f of x1 plus f dash of x1 into x minus x1. This is linear approximation. I am stopping at after first derivative and just writing it little differently. Instead of x0 or a, I am writing x1. That is the only change. Now, what Mr. Newton is saying, that if you have got a curve like this, f of x, and if you are at this point, x1, and this is your f of x1, and you are searching for this point, what is the value of x at which f of x becomes 0? That is solving the equation, solving the equation. That means if you happen to sketch the graph, where does the graph intersect x-axis? What is that value? What are the roots of that function? That is what we are interested in. Correct? So Newton has given an amazing technique. Using this formula, if we solve this simultaneously with y is equal to 0, that means straight line, then what do we get? We get, what is the value of x that you get if you solve this? And this is linear. What is this? This is tangent at this point. This equation is approximation, linear approximation. It is not the function. Function is something different. It is a curve, but this is a linear approximation. Therefore, it is a straight line, and therefore it is a tangent. And then if you solve this tangent simultaneously with x-axis, you will get this point, x coordinate. We will call it as x2. So what is our x2? F of x1 plus f dash of x1 times x2 minus f dash of x1 times x1. Therefore, x2 is equal to x1 f dash of x1 divided by f dash of x1, this goes there, minus f of x1 upon f dash of x1. Check whether I am correct or not. This gets cancelled. Therefore, x1 minus f of x1 upon f dash of x1. That is your x2. So you got this point now. So if I got this point, I go here vertically up and then do the same thing. At this point, if I draw tangent, it will be like this. And then if I solve this tangent simultaneously with x-axis, I will get x3. And x3 is going to be similar to x2. x3 is x2 minus f of x2 upon f dash of x2. Is that right? Okay, you have reached here. Go vertically up, draw tangent. It is difficult now. But then if you keep doing these iterations, you will go near the root. That is what is Newton's method. Now, no matter what this function is, of course, it has to be well behaved. And I will explain what are the cases where this method will fail. But in majority of the cases, it is very, it is said that solving quadratic is easy. Solving cubic, people have developed formulae to solve cubic. And solving fourth degree earlier days was possible. But there were no methods to solve equations of higher degree than 4. And people used to struggle to get the values of roots, the values of x where the function becomes 0. But using these methods now, approximation and differential calculus, you may not hit this point forever, but you will be in the so vicinity of that point that all practical problems can be solved by taking that particular value of x. Okay, so let us do this using some numbers, and maybe I will write down those numbers for you. Approximate value of root 2. Find okay, so we define our function f of x as x square minus 2, which eventually will become 0 at this value. That is the root 2 where this function is going to go 0. Is that correct? Therefore, we will check. This is what is our formula. What is our formula now? If we use this recurrence relation, xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus f of xn upon f dash of xn. Now our derivative, so xn plus 1 is equal to, if f of xn plus 1 is equal to xn minus f of xn, which is xn square minus 2 upon f dash of x, which is 2x in the denominator. So if we simplify this, we get shall I write correctly, xn square plus 2 upon 2xn, correct? So if this is our formula, and if we start, we don't know whether root 2 is how much, but root 2 is definitely greater than 1. So if x is equal to 1, x1 is equal to 1, then x2 is equal to, if I put 1 here, it is 3 by 2. Okay, so now I take x2 as 3 by 2, then x3 becomes, then x3 becomes 3 by 2 square plus 2 upon 2 into 3 by 2, which is 17 by 12, which is equal to 1.4166. If x3 is equal to 1.4166, then x4 becomes 577 upon 408, which is 1.414215. If we take x4, then x5 is equal to 1.414213562374, and this is correct up to 11 decimal places. This is correct value of root 2 up to 11th decimal place. अरे समझते हैं का? Okay. Now, when will it fail? When will this method not work? Majority of good graphs it will work, but if specifically the graph is like this, so you are here, you want to find out this, you are here, you draw tangent at that point, draw tangent at that point, you reach somewhere here, go there, draw tangent at that point, go somewhere else, draw tangent. So you are moving further away from the root if the nature of the curve is so bad. In that case, what you should do is, instead of selecting this as x1, select somewhere else x1, and you will go to the root. So selecting x1, if these calculations are easy, if you know the formula, to find out the next value of x, then you can always try different value. Another thing where it can fail is if the graph is like this. Okay, so maybe you reach here, maybe you draw a tangent here. Draw tangent at this point. which goes and reaches here. So it is a loop. Tangent, and you go here, it passes through this point. Do you understand? This is your x1, you go to x2. If you put x2, you go to x1. If that kind of thing is happening, it is oscillation, and then it will not work. These are the two cases where Newton's method for finding out the root will fail. Okay, questions? For all practical purposes, these are the things which we would like to develop or discuss in the course of differential calculus at our institute. And after this, it is problem solving, and you have already done a lot of problem solving using the concepts of differential calculus that we have learned so far. So I stop recording. That is the end of differential calculus, last lecture. Thank you.